Welcome to Inner Peace Arts Unscripted. I'm James Coleman, your host. I'm a writer. I write on personal development, spirituality, and social change at innerpeacearts.wordpress.com. And today's session is about sources of unhappiness. And this is actually interesting because when I was thinking about what to share on in this episode, I thought about sources of unhappiness, and then I found myself getting unhappy, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to share on that because I'm unhappy and I don't want to think about that. And then I realized, okay, I just got to get over it and move on. But it also made it clear that it was something to talk about. So, the sources of unhappiness. Sources of unhappiness are, one, things that you don't have, so lack in thinking about it. So desire and not managing desire correctly is a source of unhappiness. We're social beings, and there is a feeling that there should be equity in what people have. Like, so if somebody has demonstrably more than me, I feel like, hey, that's not fair. If someone has demonstrably less than me, I can also say, hey, that's not fair, and can be a source of unhappiness. And what am I saying in all this? I'm saying that everyone's going to have to decide for themselves what the boundaries of happiness boundaries are. And so you are the source of your unhappiness, and you are also the one who can draw boundaries on that. And so this is not to say that there's a right and wrong about that happiness, but it is to say that you're in control of it, you're in charge of it, and that you can use that energy to push forward an agenda. So, the source of unhappiness. Where I'm saying that the source of unhappiness is generally within yourself, to the extent that that unhappiness drives negativity is up to you and about your skill set and how you're dealing with the negativity and how you're converting the negativity. But the source of unhappiness is you, and how you're seeing the world, and how you're seeing your desire in relationship to the world. Now again, this has nothing to do with how you go about resolving that unhappiness in terms of getting the things that you want that are missing, right? Because I mentioned earlier that unhappiness is often related with lack. And so you can work to overcome that lack and eliminate a source of unhappiness. And that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you should do that. And that's one of the things that, I try to help people with, is how to start to take those actions that eliminate lack that drives unhappiness, right? Because some unhappiness won't be fulfilled until you actually get the stuff, okay? So not having stuff is often a source of unhappiness, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Oh, you're being materialistic and you want stuff. No. If I want to eat, I need food, and if the lack of food is causing unhappiness, well then I need to get food. It's not about sitting under the Bodhi tree and waiting for food. No, get some food. And it's the same with, houses, cars, all that kind of stuff. Everyone decides for themselves what the boundaries are for when those things start to get in the way of happiness. Because you can have too much. It can be too much to manage. It can be unhealthy, right? Balance. We can talk about that later. Back to the point. the point is sources of unhappiness. Unhappiness is about you and your way of seeing things. It's about lack of stuff that you need and how you go about resolving to get that stuff, and how you maintain a positivity in the midst of trying to get it. So this was a lot of going on, a lot of stuff going on in this one. But I wanted to get that out, that unhappiness has a source. The source is in your perspective and in your resources. And it can be resolved. It will be resolved. You can take action to resolve it. You can even take action to mitigate unhappiness that is caused by systems. For example, if you go to the DMV and you can't get help at the DMV, that's a system problem. It's not you per se. But that's it. That's all I want to say before I get too far into other details. Sources of unhappiness. Once again, you are the source of your unhappiness. Lack is a source of unhappiness. Your perspective on that lack determines whether or not you get through the unhappiness to resolve it. Because if you're unhappy and the unhappiness is blocking you from taking action to resolve it, that again is another issue, and it itself becomes a source of unhappiness. And so you can see how it starts to get really, really funky. So it's okay to be aware of the sources of unhappiness, and you need to be able to manage them in order to move through them, and in order for them to not take control and drown out the possible happiness that you could be experiencing. Once again, I'm James Coleman. I'm the host here at Inner Peace Arts Unscripted. Check out my blog at innerpeacearts.wordpress.com, and thank you for spending the time with me. Bye-bye.